Hello and welcome. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss relative pronouns. So what are relative pronouns? Relative pronouns are a special type of pronoun that connect dependent clauses to independent clauses within a sentence. They serve as a bridge, linking the information in one part of the sentence to another. Let's take an example. The book that you lent me is fascinating. Here, that is the relative pronoun that connects the dependent clause to the independent clause. So what is dependent clause and what is independent clause? The independent clause is a group of words that can stand alone as a complete sentence because it expresses a complete thought. It is the independent sentence that expresses a complete thought. It expresses the meaning on its own. For example, the book is fascinating. This is a complete sentence. Next is dependent clause. Dependent clause, it relies on an independent clause to give its meaning and is often introduced by a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. For example, that you lent me. It is a dependent clause. It depends upon the independent clause for its meaning. There are several relative pronouns in English, each serving a specific purpose. The most common ones are who, her, whose, which, that. These are some relative pronouns. Let's discuss these one by one. First one is who. Who is used to introduce a relative clause that provides more information about a person or people in a sentence. Here are some rules for using who. First rule is it referring to people. It helps to specify which person or group of people the relative clause is referring to. For example, the girl who is singing has a beautiful voice. Here, who is used to refer the girl in a sentence. Do you know the person who won the award? Here, who is also used to identify, to introduce that person who won the award. Next rule is position in the sentence. It typically comes after the noun it refers to. For example, she is the teacher who helped me pass the exam. So, the word who is used after the noun it refers to. For example, in this sentence, teacher is the noun it refers to. I have a friend who lives in New York. Your friend is the noun in the sentence. It is followed by a verb. Who is always followed by a verb that agrees with the subject of the relative clause it introduces. For example, she is the one who always arrives late. The man who was talking to you is my brother. Here the always and was is the verb in a sentence. Dependent clause. It provides additional information about the person or people mentioned in the main clause. For example, she is the doctor who treated my grandmother. Here, who treated my grandmother is the dependent clause. I met someone who speaks 5 languages. Complete sentence. When combined with the main clause, the relative clause forms a complete sentence that conveys a clear meaning about the person or people being discussed. For example, the woman who lives next door is a lawyer. He is the person who borrowed my book. Next relative pronoun is which is used to introduce a relative clause that provides additional information about a thing, object, or animal in a sentence. It refers to things or animals, which is used to refer to objects, animals, or sometimes concepts. For example, I bought a new car which is red. The book which is on the table is mine. Position in a sentence. So which usually comes after the noun it refers to. For example, the house which is old needs renovation. She adopted a dog which was abandoned. So which usually comes after the noun. So in these examples, house is a noun and dog is a noun. So which comes after the noun. It is followed by a verb. Usually which followed by a verb that agrees with the subject of the relative clause it introduces. For example, the movie which was released last month received positive reviews. The laptop which belongs to my brother is broken. Dependent clause, which provides additional information about the thing or animal mentioned in the main clause. For example, I like to drink coffee, which is a popular beverage. He visited Italy, which is famous for its historical landmarks. Complete sentence. When combined with the main clause, the relative clause which forms a complete sentence that conveys a clear meaning about the thing or animal being discussed. For example, the cat which is black likes to sleep on the windowsill. The restaurant which serves Italian cuisine is always crowded. Next is home. Home in a sentence indicates that it refers to the object of verb within a relative clause. Introducing relative clauses. Home is used to introduce a relative clause that provides additional information about a person who is the object of a verb in the main clause. Position in the sentence. Home usually follows the noun it refers to and is the object of the verb in the relative clause. For example, he is the friend whom I invited in the party. Whom is the object of the verb invited in the relative clause and it provides additional information about the friend. Object of the verb. Whom functions as the object of the verb, which means it receives the action. For example, she is the doctor whom we consulted for advice. Formality and correctness. Whom is often used in formal writing or when adherence to strict grammar rules is required. In informal speech, who is more commonly used in situations where whom would technically be correct. Prepositions. When whom is preceded by a preposition in the relative clause, it still functions as the object of that preposition. For example, she is the person with whom I travel. Here, with is the preposition. Next one is whose. Whose is used to indicate possession or ownership, introducing a relative clause that provides additional information about the possessor and the thing possessed. Indicating possession. Whose is used to indicate possession or ownership. It helps to specify the relationship between the person or thing being referred to and something else. Position in a sentence. Whose typically comes before a noun to indicate possession. It introduces a relative clause that provides additional information about the person or thing that possesses something. Possessive relationship. In the relative clause introduced by whose, the noun following whose indicates the things that is possessed, while the main clause provides information about the possessor. For example, she is the girl whose book was stolen. Here, whose indicates that the book belongs to the girl. He is the man whose car broke down. Here, whose indicates that the car belongs to the man. Formality. Whose is used in both formal and informal contexts, and it is considered standard English. That is a flexible relative pronoun used to introduce relative clauses that provide additional information about people, animals, or things. It referring to people, animals, or things. That is a versatile relative pronoun used to refer to people, animals, or things. It helps to specify which person, animal, or thing the relative clause is referring to. Position in the sentence. That can come after the noun it refers to, or can be omitted in certain cases. It connects the relative clause to the main clause of the sentence. Usage in restrictive clauses. That is often used in restrictive clauses which provide essential information that is necessary to understand the meaning of the sentence. In restrictive clauses, that is not preceded by a comma. For example, the book that I bought yesterday is very good. Usage in non-restrictive clauses. That can also be used in non-restrictive clauses which provide additional non-essential information. In non-restrictive clauses that is preceded by a comma. For example, my brother that works in the city comes home on weekend, followed by a verb. That is often followed by a verb that agrees with the subject of the relative clause it introduces. This verb describes an action or state related to the person, animal, or thing being referred to. For example, he is the man that I met at the conference. She is the cat that always sleeps on the windowsill. Quality. That is commonly used in both formal and informal contexts and is considered standard English. Thank you for watching.